Hello students, we are meeting after a long time, after a break. Let's resume back to the topic, animal tissues. I hope you watch the lectures, video lectures. Keep watching them and get everything registered. Let's come back to animal tissues. A very small review or revision let's do so that everything gets afresh in your mind. We had started with animal tissues where we covered up everything regarding epithelial tissue. Yaad karo. Under that we did squamous, columnar, ciliated, cuboidal, sensory, germinal and glandular. Then I started with the second type in us, in animals, is the connective tissue. I remember vividly stopping at the junction that connective tissue, as a word indicates, it gives a clue that it connects any two organs or tissues. Rather, let me tell you, it works like an adhesive, a gum, a glue, because our body has many, our body means I am talking about all the animals in the animal kingdom. It has many joints where you need some medium to connect them or to join them. That's what a connective tissue does. Connection. You get a hint. Now this connective tissue, it's of three types or three kinds. Number one is connective tissue proper. I'm using initials, so be alert. It's very clear it is connective tissue proper. The other one is supporting connective tissue, and the third one is fluid connective tissue. Fluid, this might sound weird to you, but when I do each and every time, this will get more clearer to you. Under connective tissue proper, we'll discuss areolar connective tissue and adipose tissue. Under supporting, it gives support. Here under this we'll discuss bone and cartilage. Bone gives support, or it gives a framework to your body. Like how this board has a framework. How a photo does not get folded because we put a framework. So that's why we use the word supporting. Next is fluid. Now things will get clearer. Fluid is a thick liquid with certain suspensions. Under fluid, we'll do blood and lymph. We'll do means this is not included in this chapter, but blood and lymph comes under fluid, which you will do it in your another chapter. Circulation, circulatory system, because these two fluids are in circulation. Now I take up under connective tissue proper, I take up areolar connective tissue. It is a very important part in your body. It's a very important tissue rather, and exam oriented also it is very important. Areolar connective tissue, here if I take a section of it, If I take a section of areolar connective tissue, a section's a cutting, and when you view it under a microscope, here you notice, and if you could, now before you see this video lecture, I request you to always see the previous video so that you understand the continuity, so that you understand the points which were discussed there and which will be brought up here again. Now in the last lecture video, I had told you that connective tissue, they have more of a ground substance. Ground means pisado, which is grind, in the ground state. We call this ground substance as matrix. A jelly-like substance called as matrix. Now embedded or you can say suspended into the matrix, there are two components. Number one, you see fibers, and number two, you see cells. It's a tissue, right? Tissue is made up of cells. So you find the two components embedded in the matrix. Number one, fibers. Number two, cells. Now if I say fibers, it means thread, dhaga. Let's talk about the fibers first. They have white fibers which have a protein substance called as collagen. Now collagen gives strength, support to the tissue, and they have yellow fibers which are made up of a protein called as elastin. Now remember, anything, this is just a general instruction I am giving you, anything ending in IN, it has to be a protein. Now this elastin, again a hint, a clue you get, that it gives elasticity. Elasticity means there is movement. How a rubber band is elastic, which helps it to stretch. So these yellow fibers, they are made up of elastin, a protein, right? Now these fibers, if I am talking about white fibers, they are wavy, and they are found in bundles. They are wavy. These yellow fibers, they are single, straight, and they are branched as well. You see the branches? These are unbranched and these are branched. Basically, these two combination, collagen and elastin, they give the tissue elasticity, flexibility, strength, support, so that the tissue is able to manage with the movement. But that movement is limited, remember. You cannot, when you stretch a rubber band beyond its elasticity, then it snaps. So these are all limited. Remember that. Now coming to the cells. Let me just erase this part and go with the cells. The cells are of four kinds. Number one, fibroblast. Fibroblast. Number two, mast cells. Number three, macrophages. Number four, adipocytes. The second component of the tissue I go about is matrix is dead. Embedded in matrix we did fibers. The second component is cells. First type, fibroblast. Now, a cell when it gets developed from a blast. I hope I'm not confusing you. A fibroblast leads to, or rather develops into cells. And fibroblast means it gives a rise or it develops into fibers. Let it be white fibers or yellow fibers. So, the origin of fibers is fibroblast, or rather fibroblast, they develop into white fibers and yellow fibers. Remember that. Mast cells. Mast cells are oval. Oh, one. I just wanted to tell you, these fibroblasts are stellar shaped. I did not give you the shape. Stellar shaped, which means that they are not exactly star shaped. Stellar is stretched with the processes like this. Here you see the processes, right? So these are the fibroblasts, which gives a rise to the fibers. Mast cells, they are oval with proper organized nucleus, right? And these cells, they secrete two components, two chemicals. One is heparin and the other is histamine. Students, very, very important. Please register these two words, these two chemicals, register them because they are of utmost importance if you're going for your further, say, competitive exams. Mast cells, they release or secrete heparin and histamine. For your information, let me tell you, heparin is an anticoagulant, means it prevents your blood from getting clotted inside your body, so that the movement of the blood, the circulation of the blood is smooth, without any obstruction, without any hindrance. So heparin is an anticoagulant. Histamine. Histamine is an anti-inflammatory chemical. When you develop any allergy, when you develop any, say, your body is rejecting any allergen, then the body's reaction is developed due to histamine. For example, if you have a dust allergy, so when you have when you inhale some dust, then this histamine will respond by making you sneeze, so that the dust is, released out of your system. So basically it is protecting us. Clear? Now mast cells, they secrete heparin and histamine. I go with the third one, macrophages. Students, phages, phagocytic. phagocytosis. All these are related terms. Macrophages are huge, big cells. Macro means bade, big. These cells, they're amoeboid. They don't have any shape, irregular shaped, and they show phagocytosis, means they can change the body shape. Let me show you. They have a property of, that's why the name phages, because they can change the body shape, methods, whatever. And they have a nucleus, very much a nucleus. Now phagocytosis, by this action, they make up defense. हमारा defense बनाते हैं. They protect us from any germs. If any foreign body, any allergen, any pathogen, any germ has entered, then these macrophages, they change the body shape and they trap the germ or the pathogen and they will destroy it, finish it. Right? So it has a very small but significant role in defense, immunity. This immunity word is too much in the air, so you will understand it better. Now, adipocytes. Adipocytes are again round cells. Now these cells, adipose means it's something connected with your fat, lipid. Now these cells, they give say insulation to the tissue. Okay? Now this was all about, in fact, let me add on this to you. Adipocytes, they develop into, or rather they will eventually develop into adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is the fat layer just below your skin, just below your dermis, epidermis and the dermis. You have a fatty layer, an adipose tissue. Remember, adipose tissue is nothing connected to cholesterol or something like that. It is a proper tissue which insulates all over your body, just beneath your skin. Right? This was about areolar connective tissue. Now I go with the second type under proper, connective tissue proper. Remember? We just did areolar. Now let me do adipose tissue. Again, I'll take a section of the tissue and we'll discuss. I request you, when you are seeing the video lectures, take a notebook. I always maintain this in my lectures. Take a notebook. Highlight on the terms. Just write the terms randomly in your notebook so that when you're studying for your exam, preparing, these terms should be registered. Just go through your pages. You will understand these words. Now let me go with adipose tissue. It's a fatty layer, right? Now if I take up a section of the adipose tissue, you will see the adipose cells, tissue, na? So made up of cells. And we call these cells as, I just mentioned few minutes back, we call these cells as adipocytes. Now if I take one cell, one adipocyte, here you notice that the cytoplasm is shifted, or rather not shifted, I can use the word pushed to the periphery. Periphery, you understand, to the boundary, because of which even the nucleus is got shifted or pushed to the boundary. Same here I can show you. cytoplasm shifted to the periphery with the nucleus, and this is the matrix. One more thing coming into your mind or into my mind is the cells are loosely packed, more of intercellular spaces. They are not crumpled or closely packed. These are the adipocytes. Now, the reason for the cytoplasm being shifted to the periphery, to the boundary is, there's a fat globule here. Globule, you understand? Let me precisely tell you, when you take water and add oil to it, you'll see the oil floating on top, oil droplets. Those are not oil globule, fat, right? So, because of this fat globule, the cytoplasm gets shifted to the periphery. So even the nucleus. Now this adipose tissue, there's something called as white adipose tissue and brown adipose tissue. Adipose tissue, brown, white is found, it is opaque and mostly found in adults. And the brown adipose tissue, it's reddish brown, found in infants and children. Now let me tell you the function of this adipose tissue. As I already showed you the location, it's found just beneath our skin. So it works like an insulator. How say copper wire has a insulation, likewise our body has an insulator made up of this adipose tissue, and also it acts like a shock absorber. So when we have a fall or something, when we bang against a wall or whatever, we fall from the bike or your cycle, it is the bit of the adipose tissue, forms a cushion pad, so that the fall, the injury is not intense, right? Now this was all about connective tissue proper. In my next lecture, I'll continue with the further, that is supporting, and I told you fluid you are going to do in circulatory tract. So with this I end up my lecture, hoping that you see the video again and again, get things registered, jot down points, terms which are very important, exam oriented, so that my next lecture, next video, when you see it, you are all very thorough with the previous topics. Thank you students. See you soon.